everyone, it's Gina K, and I'm so excited to be here on the Simon Says Stamp blog and YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you a fun stencil technique that uses the Gina K Designs Floral Stencil and the Life-Changing Brushes by Picket Studio. I fell in love with these brushes when I purchased the large pack, and they come in such a wide variety of shapes and sizes that are perfect for large areas and also for shading and blending in the tightest little spots. To start my technique, I'm going to use a piece of cardstock, and this is the Gina K Designs white cardstock, and I'm using our floral stencil, and I'm going to tape that onto the back of the stencil, that cardstock, using some of the ThermWeb purple tape. You can also use washi tape, but I find that the purple tape is great for this application. Then I'm going to take an additional piece of cardstock, and I'm going to cut some hills and some valleys and a V into the end of this piece of cardstock. And I'm going to use this as a mask so that when I'm blending color around the flower, the petals, and the leaves, I don't get colors where I don't want them. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. The first brush I'm going to use is the largest brush. It's almost the largest brush. I think there's one larger than this one. And I'm going to use some Ocean Mist ink. This is a very light aqua blue. And this nice large brush allows you to do some sweeping blending over large areas. So I'm going to start by blending some of that color onto just the flower part of the stencil. I'm not getting too close to the edge, but I'm just laying some color down and making sure that most of the flower is covered with that light aqua blue. Now once I've added enough of that aqua blue, I'm going to use my little mask that I made to mask off the leaves so then I can get into the tighter areas and not worry about that blue getting onto the leaves. And by cutting this piece of cardstock with different sizes and shapes of valleys and hills, you can always find something that's going to work well for masking. Now you could cut a mask using masking paper and that would work too, but for a stencil like this is a quick and easy way to get started. So I'm going to continue to finish up these petals, finding those perfect little hills and valleys to go around the outside. And then I'm going to go to my next color. The next color is Tranquil Teal, and I'm going to use this very thin little brush, and I'm going to rub a lot of that color onto the brush. Then using my little mask, I'm going to place the mask and then brush up onto the petal. And that's going to allow a little bit of the darker color to get close to the base of the petal, and then it's going to leave almost like a streak mark going up onto the petal that's going to give that petal some texture, and it's going to look like those very soft, subtle veins that you see in the petals of flowers. So you can see I'm going to continue to find the right little spot on my quickly cut mask and then add those little streaks of color all over the different petals of these two flowers. And once I've added all of that shading to the flower, it's going to be time to shade the leaves. So just a few more little spots and my flower will be ready. So now I'm going to use some Jelly Bean Green, and Jelly Bean Green is a very light but vibrant green, and I'm going to use that as my base color for these leaves. So I'm using the next size down brush of the Life-Changing brushes because I still want to cover a large area all at once. And these larger brushes in this set are just wonderful for that. So once I'm done laying all that Jelly Bean Green down, now it's time to add a little bit of shading into the leaves. So I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs Fresh Asparagus ink and another one of those small Life-Changing brushes. And I'm going to just flick the color up over the veins that are built into the stencil. So it's just going to highlight them a little bit and create a little bit of that texture because the bristles of the brush are just going to add a little bit of thin line to the leaf. So now it's time to peel off the stencil and reveal the beautifully shaded flowers. Isn't that fun? It's a really fun, quick and easy technique and a great way to add shading. So now there's one little spot there that I wasn't happy with, so I decided to get some of the ThermWeb fancy ribbon, this is the white and gold fancy ribbon, to cover that mark, but to also add a nice embellishment to this card front. So I've cut that down and then I'm just taping it onto the back and making sure that it's straight. And once I have it straight, it covered that little mark that I didn't like. And now I'm going to finish up by adhering that card panel to an ocean mist card base. Now for my greeting, I decided to use a greeting from a mini stamp set that I just love. This stamp set is called All About You, and it's got fantastic greetings in it for all kinds of cards. The greeting that I chose was, "The world is a better place because of you," and I cut them out using some of the small and the large square dies by Gina K Designs and ThermWeb. Those two dies layer together to create a nice shadow layer around the outside. And a square is always a great shape to have, especially when it has those beautiful double-stitched lines going around. And the black panel that I did has the single-stitched line going around. When you layer them together, it creates that beautiful shadow layer. So I'm going to place that greeting using some of the ThermWeb foam squares. And that card is done. Now, I did a second version of the card, but I didn't use the ribbon on that one, so I wanted to show you both looks. I also decided to do one in pink, so I used some dusty rose ink and then a little faded brick to add some shading. So there's a quick and easy way to add some shading to your stencils. I hope you'll give this technique a try, and thanks so much for joining me today on the Simon Says Stamp YouTube channel. See you again soon.